Hello everybody, welcome back to Pullbear Trader. So today we will go over Tuesday earning, and first I'm going to start with United Health. Short term is oversold, long term is also oversold. Okay, so we have a level to watch is right here at 379, and then another one here at the support at 280. All right, so looks like the trend change, and if I draw, so it look like it's hitting the wedge right here, and look, and is want to break out. So normally when the stock, when you look back in the last earning, it was all the way from about 600 down all the way to 280. That's about more than 50%. So the number has to be just okay and decent outlook. We might see it bounce up to 226. There's a lot of short, and it also right at the wedge right here. Okay, for if you got really bad number, it will retest 250. So those are the level that we need to watch for tomorrow. Pullback, I would say about 30% or less. About 70-75%, we might have a bounce. Next, we have SOFI. So I look at this before, and I spotted the reverse head and shoulder, and I say gonna bounce at least to 20. So it went over 20, 22, pull back. So look like we might have well, it's oversold short term. I mean overbought short term and overbought long term. So I expect a pullback. Okay. So what I'm seeing is we have a more chance of a pullback about, I would say, 16, around 65%. 35% we have a bounce to around 25. All right, so that is for SOFI. PayPal, so it bounced from April low right at the support. Now I'm gonna draw the trend line from the low. You can see it's been bouncing right here, overbought short term and overbought long term. So they pull back to probably about 75. I would say about 60%. They break out and test 86. And this will have about 40%. Well, Guess what I saw? An inverse head and shoulder. Okay, so if I measure from here to here, most likely it's around here, 84, but it might even close this gap at 86. So we might have a, I would say now, because of this, I can see breakout at 45% and pullback at 55%. Boeing. I looked at this before. I expected a pullback, but it did not, and even rally even more. So now, what do we have here? So taking out these, we can see is still overbought, short term, overbought long term. So I expect a pullback. So if it pull back, I would say about 217 as low as 210. For a bounce, I would say around 267. Okay, so look like that's the level. 210 is for this right here. I mean right here. And also is kind of like this last low over here. UPS it's neutral short term and long term. I looked at it before last time, and you can see the trend support. It came all the way down, came up to test, pull back, and then trying to test it again. You can see for the short term, it is right at the support. So more chance of breaking out at about 109. I would say 60%. For pullback, I would say about 95 at about 40%. Oops. Okay. That's it. I don't see anything else right now. So 95, 40%, 109, 60%. Spotify. In a way, you can see is a little bit. You can see here's a W. Okay, so it went up, came back down. Short term over, so long term is still overbought. So if it does come back, I would say come back to around this level right here. Okay, so really short term, it's trending down. So I would say we have a 650 for pullback. That's about 50%. For bounce to 782 at about 50%. Okay. Okay, so most likely we will see it right here. Okay, so before I say for Merck, I say most likely we will see 85. So it bounce up, pull back, and then test 85, and it's right here. So now, what do we have here? Overbought short term, overbought long term. So the trend has changed. Okay, so 85 is over here. If it come up, we will see about 96 next. And then for a pullback, which is 40% breakout, pullback, I would say about 60%. And it can come down right here, 78. So 60% pullback, 40% breakout. Do I see anything else? Okay, not really. PNG. Okay, so haven't seen this for a while. Overbought short term, oversold long term. So still very oversold. If we draw a trend line, it looked like it broke out, came back and tested. I say gonna be a 50-50 here. A bounce going to be 162. And a pullback right here at 154. So not a lot of a range. So we're looking at around maybe a couple of percent for PNG. But it might bounce up after this and all the way here again. So just like Merck before, it might do that. Visa, overbought short term, little bit overbought long term. Okay, so for short term, we have this and this. So basically it's at the wedge. Most likely 60% of a pullback to about 338. And for a breakout to about 376. Okay. Look at that. So in a way, we can see it's bouncing within the orange wedge right now. Look like more pullback at about 60%, 40% bounce and breakout. Mara. Okay, so for short term, look like it's kind of like this. for the high, like that, oversold short term, overbought long term. So I'm thinking of another 40% bounce to about $20, 60% pull back to about $15. Okay, yeah, looks nothing else in the chart. Next is STX. STX. Okay, so I drew the line, the support all the way back here. So now is act as a resistance, and short term is neutral, long term overbought. So most likely we will see a pullback. Okay, so if we draw a trend line, it's been bouncing between the wedge from this high to here. Okay, so 60% pullback to about 90 to all the way to 90.87. Okay, for breakout, it will go up to about 99.5, or let's say 100, at about 40%. Okay, so that's for STX. Seagate, overbought short term and long term, so it need really good number. So otherwise, most likely as about 70%, it will come down to 130. Okay, 30%, it will make a new high at probably about 170. Okay, if I draw the trend line from here to here, okay, so it's already broke out as well. Most likely it will come back to test the orange line at about 143. So 143 is most likely, but it can drop below and come back into the channel. Booking, short term is oversold, long term is overbought, and looks like it's been doing really well. Okay, and right now if I look at this, it looks like it has a bull flag, so we might have a bounce next. Okay, so short-term support, yes, look like we might have another bounce, probably about to 6,000. I would give this about 35 to 40%. 60 to 65%, we will see 52.43. Okay, but blue flag is a good sign. Let me zoom in and I draw a trend line. Okay, from the low, if we take from here, draw here. So yeah, look like it's within the wedge as well. And most likely we will have a pullback right here. Okay, next is Caesars Entertainment, short-term oversold, long-term overbought. But look at this. Wow, drop a lot lately. Okay. So if I draw a trend line, okay, so most likely we'll have about 60%. We will have a bounce to at least 31.55. Okay, and at about 40%, we'll see 25.50. If I draw another trend line from here, because I'm seeing okay, so look like it right at the resistance from this medium trend, medium term, but for the short term is still moving up. It's as close as the support here, but still for a bounce I would see about 60-40 pullback. Teradyne, short term is oversold, long term is overbought, but it's been lower. Right now it's about average, a little bit below average at about 100, but it's been bouncing up. So this is the trend line. All right, so you can see here that it might get a bounce, just like Caesar, a pullback at 83, about 40%, a bounce 60% to all the way to probably 102. All right, that's a lot. So thanks for watching. Please hit a like, share, and subscribe. Tomorrow we will talk about the big stocks here. We got Meta, Microsoft, Robinhood, Applied Blockchain, Kavana, Lam Research, Qualcomm, Vertiv, Diva, Etsy, yep, that's a lot. Generac. And then the next day we have Apple, Amazon. So yeah, it's a big week this week. So check back tomorrow for the video. Have a good one. Bye.